Hello everyone, it's David again. We are in Babylon 5, Season 5, Episode 15. Darkness Ascending. The noose is tightening around the Centauri throat. Michael Garibaldi has a nightmare B5 being destroyed due in part to his drinking. All of a sudden at the end, Lita Alexander, white-eyed Lita, appears. She says that she has done deciding or done trying to hide what the Vorlons did to her, and so she says you won't remember any of this, and all of a sudden boom, here comes Michael. Now, was this a double dream, or was this Lita messing with Garibaldi's head, or was this a mental block from Buster's, or was this just Michael's drunken mind taking him for a ride? You're going to find all in kinds of different answers for that one. Lise all of a sudden appears at Michael Garibaldi's quarters. He was only supposed to be gone for a couple of weeks, and here he is. He's been gone forever and a day. So his girlfriend shows up, but rather than be happy, he's really snarky. We cue the entrance. We learn that Lennier states 3 more ships have been destroyed, and Sheridan overhears that Delenn has put Lennier in the center of things to try and see if he can come up with all the answers. And he tries to recall the White Star. We zip on in, and Lita wants an appointment with Jakar. I wonder why. Uh-oh. It's going to be a very important appointment. You don't want to miss it. Lana Mallory and Veer want to know why the Royal Court all of a sudden wants information on trade transports. They've never been involved in that sort of stuff. And why all the meetings with them, even the day-to-day stuff, why has it been canceled all of a sudden? Lise finds a bottle of half-drunk liquor under the sink. Uh-oh. I can tell you, as a recovering alcoholic, that's never a good idea when you find someone who's supposed to be... One of my friend's buddies was telling me about his girlfriend had a relapse on crack, and I said, well, how did you know your girlfriend, did she tell you? And he says, no. He says, I came home and I noticed all of a sudden the light switch on the dimmer switch wouldn't work. So he says, I opened it up to go fix the wiring, and my girlfriend's crack pipe fell out. Oops. Busted. Ooh, man, have you ever caught someone doing something like that? Go ahead and put that one down below. I'm like, yeah. So he's like, I don't know what to do. And I says, well, Aaron, I said, as someone who's alcoholic, the best thing you can do is probably to leave. And I says, but don't make the threat if you can't carry it out. Because otherwise then your threats become meaningless, and when you really do finally give the ultimatum, it won't mean anything to her because she'll have heard it 100 times before. So when you get ready to pull that trigger, make sure that you point the gun and you aim and you fire all at once. Otherwise, it's not going to mean anything. Michael Garibaldi pours out the bottle of liquor in an act of contrition. I got in not argument, but a discussion with one of my family members who's also in a recovery type of program, and they said the worst thing you can do is go looking for their stash, their supply, and then dump it out, because all they'll do is replace it. You're just costing them more money and more annoyance. And instead of money to pay the light bill, you may end up paying for their crack habit instead. So they said the worst thing you can do if you find their stash is to throw it away. But, of course, she's a billionaire now, so I don't really think it matters to her bottom line. Delenn and President Sheridan argue over Lennier being assigned a patrol. And Lennier... So Sheridan attempts to recall the White Star, but Lennier strikes out literally on his own in his own little fighter. Lita accepts Jakar's proposal for telepathic DNA. You have to zip all the way back to the pilot episode to get more details on that one. And she says at the end, I've just recently discovered I don't have a pleasure threshold. In case you hear memes about Lita's pleasure threshold and her not having one, that's what it all refers to. Her time with Byron. Lise and Michael Garibaldi go to Fresh Air, where Michael Garibaldi orders coffee. And Michael Garibaldi wants the special coffee, where he had to take it and back, pour some liquor in. The maitre d' says, I see we were talking about the same thing after all. In other words, the maitre d' realizes he's trying to keep things hidden from Lise. And so to prevent him from going through withdrawal in front of his girlfriend, he's got to spike something, or he's going to end up, trust me, I've been through alcohol withdrawals. They are not fun, and they are very public, and oh, man, yeah, would not be good for him to go through with that right in the middle of a restaurant. Lennier attaches to a Centauri battle cruiser and is taken to the hidden Centauri base. So now the gig is almost up for the Centauri. Londo is informed by the Intel Minister that the Alliance is trying to blame the Centauri for the attack. But wait a minute, why wouldn't Londo know something about this? Somebody's keeping things from Londo, we find out. Lita ends up passing Jakar's loyalty test, and so therefore she gains a lot of money and some transport ships to ostensibly start a colony of their own. But we also learn much later, I believe in some of the movies as well, that Lita ends up using this money in part to finance the telepath wars against the Psi Corps. Lennier records the Centauri attack on a supply convoy. It looked to me to be Mercury ships, if I remember everything. And all of a sudden, we learn that an emergency session has been called, but the Centauri have deliberately not been invited. So, the noose is right around the neck, and they're just about to tighten that knot. So, at any rate, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I will see you next episode. All my dreams torn asunder.